Hello, and welcome to Getting Started with Liquid Markup. Today, we'll be discussing the basics of Liquid Markup, a powerful tool built on top of the Liquid templating language developed by Shopify. The primary purpose of Liquid Markup is to manipulate and transform data. Usually, this looks like transforming data points or lists into a readable format for your users' consumption. In other words, you can use Liquid Markup to personalize content for your audience. Liquid Markup can be used throughout Slate, in decision letters, deliver mailings, dashboards, portals, and anywhere else merge fields can be used to insert data. Through the course of this video, we'll learn all about Liquid Markup, its syntax, and its building blocks, merge fields, tags, and filters. Our goal is that you walk away feeling more comfortable with the foundational concepts of Liquid Markup. Before getting started writing Liquid Markup, you'll need to identify the data points you want to reference and how to access those data points. The data points you can use with Liquid Markup correspond to any exports you've configured. The exact method for adding exports depends on where in Slate you're using Liquid Markup. In this video, we'll use record dashboards as our example. We recommend referring to the specific documentation for where you're using Liquid Markup for more information on how to add exports. First, we'll create a new dashboard with the New Dashboard button. Then select the type of dashboard we want to create. In this case, we're going to pick the type Record and the base Person to add a dashboard to all of our person records. In the dashboard editor, we have two tabs, Edit Dashboard and Edit Query. Edit Dashboard is where we'll enter the actual contents to be displayed on our person records. Edit Query is where we'll set our exports, which will become our merge fields and data points for use in Liquid Markup. For our example, let's add some basic exports. Name, sex, email, citizenship primary, and citizenship secondary. These exports are available in all Slate databases by default, but you may want to add other exports relevant to you and your institution. Let's also add one subquery exports for count of applications. To make our exports easier to reference in Liquid Markup later, let's go ahead and rename them to short, computer-friendly names. A computer-friendly name is a name that doesn't include any unusual symbols or spaces. We can quickly rename all our exports using the Rename Exports button on the right-hand side of the page. Be sure to click Save when you're satisfied with your new names. After our exports are added, we can see them listed on the right-hand side of the Edit Dashboard tab. This is extra helpful as a reference to ensure we're using the correct export names. Using the WYSIWYG editor on the Edit Dashboard tab, we can build out a rudimentary dashboard to showcase our data points. To reference an export as a merged field, we can either type the name by hand and closing it in a pair of curly brackets on either side, or we can select the export on the right-hand side of the screen. With content added to our dashboard, we can select the Save button at the lower left corner of the screen. Then use the Preview Dashboard button in the top right corner of the screen to preview what our dashboard will look like for a specific record. Now that we've finished our setup, we can dive into using our first Liquid Markup tags, if, else, and end if. In Liquid Markup, tags are helpful bits of code that provide instructions on how to handle different scenarios. In this case, the if tag tells Slate to show the enclosed content only if some condition is true. The else tag tells Slate that if our if condition isn't true, to do something else instead. The end if tag tells Slate that no more ifs or elses are coming. All tags follow a similar syntax, with tag and any associated instructions are enclosed inside curly brackets and percentage signs. Sometimes the only thing placed inside the curly brackets and percentage sign will be the tag itself, such as when we use else. Other times, we'll have a lot more inside the brackets, like in the if statement we'll make now. Let's make our first liquid markup statement together. You may notice that missing data points still show our label, but no content populates. We can use liquid markup to only show the labels for our data points when they actually exist. In this case, we want to hide the citizenship secondary label from our dashboard when there's no value stored in Slate. To do this, we'll start by inserting our tag just before citizenship secondary. Let's go ahead and close out our tag just so we don't forget to later. Be sure to include a space after the first percentage sign and before the final percentage sign. Now that we have our tag in place, we can add our criteria. Within our curly brackets, we can reference our exports with or without the normal double curly brackets. We'll use this to construct an if statement that looks a lot like a math problem. In this case, we want to say, if we have a value for citizenship 2, let's show it. If not, let's hide it. For comparisons, we can use a variety of operators. Operators are mathematical instructions, like equal to, less than, or greater than. In this case, we'll use the does not equal operator to check if the value exists or not. To specify the does not equal operator, we'll use an exclamation point followed by the equal sign. In this case, we want to show it if the value exists or is not null. Null just means there is no value present. After we've written our if tag, we'll need to close it out with an end if. Simply find the end of the content you want to hide, then add the end if tag with our curly brackets and percentage signs. Let's preview our dashboard again, and we can see that the citizenship secondary label is now hidden. Perhaps instead of hiding the line altogether when citizenship 2 does not exist, we instead want to show users the label, but let them know that there is no data for it. We can use an else statement to accomplish this. Let's move our if statement after our citizenship secondary label, since we always want this label to show. We'll place it just before our merge field for citizenship 2. With that change, we'll see the same behavior as we did before we added any liquid markup. Secondary citizenship will be displayed if it exists, but won't display if it doesn't. By adding an else tag, we can instead ask Slate to show us a specific piece of text or data instead of leaving the area blank. Let's go ahead and add our else tag immediately following the citizenship 2 merge field. After the else tag, we'll add the text we want to show. In this case, we want to say no data. Finally, we'll close out the entire if-else statement with the end if tag. Since we still have the one from our previous iteration, we don't need to add anything further. If we preview the dashboard again, we can see that now, instead of the line being hidden, the label appears alongside no data. Tags in Liquid Markup allow us to provide instructions on how to handle different scenarios. If, else, and end if are just a few of the tags available in Liquid Markup. The Slate knowledge base contains lots of great helpful information about other Liquid Markup tags and how they can be used. Tags are just one of the tools that Liquid Markup provides. While tags control what data is displayed and where, filters allow us to make modifications to that data. Filters can do things like shorten the length of a data point to a set number of characters, change the capitalization of text, or alter the way a date or time is formatted. 3 of the simplest filters to understand are upcase, downcase, and pluralize. Upcase and downcase change the text to all uppercase or lowercase letters respectively, while pluralize allows us to appropriately use the singular or plural version of a word depending on a count. Let's say, for example, we want to always show email addresses using only uppercase letters. We'll use the double curly brackets normally used for merge fields and type in the name of our export, in this case, email. Before closing the merge field with a second pair of curly brackets, we'll add a vertical bar called a pipe delimiter after email. Then type the name of our filter, upcase. After upcase, we'll close out the merge field with our curly brackets. Alternatively, you can double-click an existing merge field in your dashboard and add the pipe delimiter and upcase in the text box that appears. After adding our upcase filter, we can see that all email addresses are returning in only uppercase letters. We can create the inverse effect by using downcase instead of upcase. Filters could perform more complex tasks as well. Let's say we want to add the word applications after our count of applications export on our dashboard, but we want to appropriately use the singular or plural version depending on the count. We can use the personalize filter to accomplish that. Let's go ahead and add another instance of our count of application export to the dashboard. We can double-click to edit it. This time, we'll add our pipe delimiter, then the filter personalize. Unlike upcase and downcase, personalize requires some additional information called arguments. In the case of personalize, we'll specify our arguments by adding a colon after the word personalize, then the singular version of the word we want to use, a comma, then the plural version. We'll need to ensure we enclose our text in single quotes so that Slate and our Liquid Markup know that these are text and not code. In this case, we'll end up with count of applications, pipe delimiter, personalize, application, applications. When we preview our results now, we'll see the dashboard displays 1 application for our first record and 2 applications for our second record. Filters in Liquid Markup allow us to modify the data being displayed. There are many more Liquid Markup filters available. We recommend checking out our documentation for more information. While working with Liquid Markup, you may encounter errors or results that don't match what you expect. This is totally normal for newcomers and veterans to Liquid Markup alike. When you run into issues you can't solve on your own, we recommend reaching out to your fellow Slate users via our community forums for assistance. Thank you for joining us for Getting Started with Liquid Markup. As you can see, Liquid Markup allows you to dynamically customize how you display data in Slate. As you write your own Liquid Markup, be sure to check out additional resources within the knowledge base and community forums. We look forward to interacting with you there.